Welcome to my channel. My name is John and I will be your host for this meeting of the Retiring Club. First of all, I want to welcome all the new subscribers who have come to my channel and signed up. This channel is basically designed for those of us who work many years in the low end, the $35,000 to maybe $75,000 a year, and we're coming into the point where we want to get prepared for retirement. This is a channel that you want to come to because I worked 40 years in the computer support. I finished up September 26th at Morgan Stanley, and out of nowhere I put together what I think is a tailor-made retirement for myself. And what we're going to talk about in this meeting is some of the resources. So of course I studied YouTube. I realized that I didn't know that much, and this was about 5 years ago before I turned 59 and a half. And I studied the guys who have retired 10 years out before even getting to 65. There's a couple people that got 14 years to go before they even get to their full retirement age. Those are the guys who managed their money and did very well. So I studied them. But one of the other things, being the baby in my family, I have 5 other siblings that have already retired, and I interviewed each one of them. So that is a good resource, talking to your other family members who are already retired and seeing how their retirements are structured. Did they retire early? Did they take a pension? Do they have annuities? And that's what we're going to cover in this meeting so that we can get prepared for whatever comes down the pipe. So I have 4 sisters and 1 brother, and then myself. That's 6 of us. And so I'm going to go over the matrix that I put together on the retirement. We're going to start with taking Social Security at 62. So the oldest sister, Loma, and the youngest sister, Carla, both took the Social Security at 62. And I specifically talked to my sister, and when she got to 59 and a half with her 401k, and she just decided that, you know what, I'm going to come on out now. So she came out, took her Social Security, but there's more to it. That was one piece of that stool. Social Security at 62, locked in, whatever she's going to get, the 30% reduction. The next one category is Social Security at full retirement age or beyond. So the other three sisters and brother took theirs at full retirement age. Now Sandra, she took hers at 70, I think it was 78 or 79. She said that the amount didn't make that much difference going to 70. Brenda, she was on disability, and then it switched to Social Security at her full retirement age. And then Frank had some medical issues, and he decided instead of going to 70, I'm taking it now. I remember speaking with him about that. The next one category is going to be pensions. So Loma has a pension, Sandra has a pension, and I believe my sister Brenda has a pension. So that's the second leg of the stool right there. Because everybody at this point is collecting Social Security except for me. And the next category is going to be annuities. So I believe Aloma has an annuity. That's the third leg of her stool. And Brenda has annuity, and Frank has annuity. These annuities usually are at 100,000, but there's got to be at least 200,000, because I think Brenda's getting $1,200 a month, and I think Frank's getting $1,600 a month. And advisory services. Aloma has an advisor, Sandra has an advisor, and Brenda uses an advisor, I'm pretty sure of that. And I think Frank has access to advisor based on his account balances. And so out of the 6 of us, 4 people are using some type of advisors. 2 have annuities, include myself, pension, and 4 of us are going to take Social Security at the full retirement age. The advisory services, one of the things that's useful is calculating the mandatory withdrawals. So they always want to get caught up on that and have somebody manage that and be responsible for that. I'm the youngest at 64, and I think Aloma is well over 80, and they're all still kicking. So in my case, so here's my story. My story is I came out early from Morgan Stanley at the age of 63 and 8 months. And what I did was I had been skimming off the gains in my retirement as they got high over the last 5 years. So I had 12,400, and I did an IRA distribution, and I used that to cover myself for the remainder of 2025, and also set up a health savings account, and I've got some money put aside for the taxes that I owe from that IRA distribution. And then once I went into retirement, I have been tracking my capital gains from the IRA. I had rolled over in cash from the 401k into my IRAs, and a good chunk of it was positioned with a money market that is ticker symbol GOFXX. That is in tax deferred. And then over the years, I was able to build up a lot of tax-free cash. Since I decided not to pay off the mortgage, I'll just add more money to it. I'll shorten it down. And since I had enough money to cover, and I'm only bridging to 67, I decided that, hey, I think I better keep that cash on hand instead of paying the mortgage, because I looked at it today, my number, I would say $335 a month. That's $85 a week. It's not worth it. It's so hard to hold the cash up. So right now I'm bridging. Next year, this time next year, I will be receiving a pension. And once that pension comes in, I will add an extra $100 to the extra payment on the principal of the mortgage, and that will be my first raise in retirement. $222. I'll add an extra $100 to the $100 I'm already putting in. The extra $122 will be the first raise in retirement. Then I will cover myself all the way 2025. I will take about $23,750 out as a 65-year-old single man, and that should cover all my expenses, which is $20,000, and the rest of it will cover Medicare. And if the health savings account doesn't get depleted, I think that I might go with Plan G, high deductible. That's what I'm thinking, or Plan N. I don't go to the doctor, but things do pop up, and I'll do that in 2027 and 2028. When I roll into the first quarter of 2029, I should turn 67, and then at that time, I will go ahead and file for Social Security at my full retirement age. Now that amount of money will cover all my expenses. So I'll be in really, really good shape. So I'm just bridging, and that will be the second raise in retirement. The third raise in retirement comes when I'm able to pay off the mortgage. The $335 that goes towards the mortgage will cover that. The pension should cover the escrow, as long as it doesn't go up too high. I don't think that pension has a raise. But this is the example of how you can go and talk to your family members, talk to your doctors, talk to your dentists, and let them know that you're retiring, especially with the doctors and the dentist. He may say, well, you know, you got 3 crowns that you need to get done. And because a lot of the plans, unless you get an advantage plan, won't cover it. Then that's at 65. And if you're on retiring early, you may have to pay out of pocket on some of the expenses. So I want to come on and just bring to you some of the strategies and the structure of building up a good retirement. I feel real good about this. One of the things I learned at Morgan Stanley is how these investments accumulate their gains. So I did talk to a portfolio manager, and just like you will find on ChatGPT, the mutual funds do hold cash, and they would be in a short-term government money market, and they would make some interest. You also have the appreciation in shares. You buy at $10 a share, it goes up to the 12 by the end of the year. Well, that's easily a 20% annualized gain. And then you got the capital gains and the dividends that pays out sometimes all through the year, a couple times a year, but surely at the end of the year. So I use all that knowledge to structure the big chunks, the $100,000, the $166,000 in these two IRAs, Fidelity and E-Trade, to harvest the gains, put it in the sweep account, put it in my pocket, add a little bit to it to come up with what I need to cover myself for the bridging part of the year. There's some videos in my library under Retiring Early and more at the Retiring Club playlist that covers that in detail. So I'm not going to talk too much more except this one last point. Some of the elders in your family may have you set up for inheritance. So by talking and interviewing the other people in the family, you may be able to find out if they have put away something for you. Sometimes when you get way up there in age, you're not mobile, and if you got really, really good investments, they'll grow, and they'll grow by a lot. I know one of our guys who retired early, his mom was like, well, do you need any money? He's like, Mom, no. And she's way up there in age now. He goes visit her all the time. He will get an inheritance, and that factor could make a difference if early on you decide, well, I can't go back to work, I'm unemployable. You might take the pressure off where you can pull some of that money out of retirement plan, knowing that years down the road some will come back to you. It's a little tricky. Some people aren't going to talk about it, but I would ask them and I would interview them to find out what their structure is. I've got capital gains coming from the investments. I got a pension at 65. I've got a part-time job bringing in cash. And then at 67, I don't have to touch my investments anymore. It's going to flip-flop from me bridging and drawing out to collecting Social Security. And then I can draw that drawdown goes real low, and then I can put it back in. But better yet, I'm going to take some vacations. So this is John, and you're with me at the Retiring Club, and I'm going to go ahead and end this meeting. And I really appreciate all my new subscribers, and welcome. Thanks. Give me some comments, likes, and be sure to subscribe, as I got plenty more items coming up in our meetings going into spring. Thank you so much.